All right, guys, Monday, 5 p.m., Duffy's in Lincoln Park, Miller Lite, fantasy football draft.
I
We'll
love Duffy's. I love football. I love Miller Lite.
It's going to be awesome. Come on out. We'll be hanging out there, drinking some Millers, drafting our team. Help Chief and Dave draft their team. They haven't
I
done
stink
fantasy
at
in a
it.
while.
Yeah.
So help them out. I feel good about mine. Lance, you feel good about yours?
I feel really good. I've been planning now, so yeah, I want to take the cake.
Okay, there you go. Ooh. He wants to take the cake. You hear that, David?
Wow. I want the Miller Lite, actually.
Yes, he wants the Miller Lite. So DM at the Stretch Pod. Let us know if you want to join. If not, show up. We might have some spots available. We'll bring some other people from the office too. Miller Lite has a team. It's going to be a nice little Monday happy hour, so come on out. And Miller Lite, the official beer of the Chicago Bears. Go to MillerLite.com/stretch to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. Cheers to 50 years of Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. All right, everybody, welcome to another Stretch interview episode. Today we are joined by former Chicago Bull, former Duke Blue Devil, Chris Duhon. Chris, welcome to the show, man. We're excited to have you.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Is that how you introduce yourself in that order? Bull first, Duke second?
Well, I understand it's a Chicago show, so we got to do it the proper order.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I do want to start with Duke first, though, even though I put those out of order there. 2001 starting five. Is that the greatest starting five in college basketball history?
I mean, that's tough to go by, but I would also say that I would take that starting five and could compete against anyone. We just had a special connection with that team, and then also, got basically six of us started because Nate James kind of, he and I switched the last 10 games, so he was mainly the starter throughout the most of the year, but he was still one of the most impactful guys on our team. So it was those six starters of us. I'll compete against any six.
Yeah, man. All of you guys had a nice run in the league. Obviously, outside of Jason, but we know his situation was a little different. But it was really that was the first college basketball season that I remember, and it was special. It
started on top apparently. With the best starting five ever.
It was special, man. I love that team. You guys were awesome.
Oh, appreciate it, man. I mean, I love that team too. So we, you ask any of us, we're willing to compete against any other starting five.
Yeah,
or any other team, basically.
And you guys won the national championship your freshman year. What was the integration process? Because clearly Coach K probably knew what he had. Was it a very difficult training camp, or what was Coach K like leading up to that year? Because he was probably this is a chance. I got a crew here that could do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think what made that team different because it was, it was kind of player ran.
Okay.
I mentioned, Shane Batty and Nate. They kind of ran in everything. And, with the preseason, I mean, to tell you the truth, obviously we did, the conditioning, the tough conditioning and the lifting. But leading on until we had official practice, we just played pickup. We played a lot of pickup, and you had a lot of those guys that were disappointed and how the season ended the year before. So they all had a chip on their shoulder. So the intensity and the level of just the pickup games were at an all-time high, knowing that, we have a chance. Well, they had unfinished business. I was kind of thrown into the fire. So, I had to pick up my level pretty quickly, just to be able to compete with those guys. So it was just a team that was on a mission, and you could feel it from the first day of workouts, and it continued throughout the whole year.
Did you ever have a moment where you called home and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can cut it here? Because you're going up against Jay Williams every day. It's these guys are unbelievable.
Yeah, probably the first 2 weeks. Okay. You're like, oh, what? 5 a.m. run, then lift, then you want to play right after. Where's the break? But again, you're seeing these guys do it, and they're not complaining, and they're pushing you to give it your all as well too. So you learn very quickly, and then after the first 2 weeks, you kind of get settled. It just became the norm after that.
When you got drafted by the Bulls, was there any advice Coach K gave you about moving to his home city of Chicago?
No, no advice. He second round pick, you still basically have to make the team. They can cut you. I think sometime until January or February, where your contract is, finally guaranteed. So, you just said, hey, you got to be on the mission. He had all the faith and confidence in me, and I went in there to earn a spot and earn playing time, and that was my focus.
Yeah, and it was kind of in the middle of a Duke run there because obviously it was the same draft. The Bulls took Dang. And was Jason still kind of in the organization then? I know he was kind of rehabbing and stuff. What was that like, kind of going in there? Obviously, the accident was horrible, but
Yeah.
the relationship with Jason when he first came to Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, he and I, that's like, my brother, obviously from my Duke days. So he wasn't around. I think he was back in, Jersey, kind of rehabbing still and kind of figuring out what his next move was. Obviously we seen that he tried to make another attempt to play. It just, didn't work out. So, he would come in from time to time, because he still had a place in Chicago, during that time. And that's kind of where he was also doing a lot of his rehabbing and, trying to get back and play. But, during my freshman rookie year, he wasn't really around much just because he was dealing with his stuff, and his stuff was pretty big. So,
Yeah.
I was just kind of there to kind of support him the best way that I can.
Yeah, and I mean, really, your guys' team was the first playoff team that the Bulls had had since the Jordan era. So,
Right.
did it kind of feel like that rejuvenation when you got here? Did it feel like you guys were starting to build something?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Coach Skiles was very, very intense. So we knew through training camp, like, this is going to be a little bit different. I mean, I think what helped with us is that we were very young, and we had a lot of guys come from very good programs. I mean, you had Kirk with Kansas, you had Ben Gordon from UConn. So the style that Coach Skiles coached, we were used to that. That didn't phase us. That didn't make us, afraid, or we didn't take it personally. So it was kind of like we were back in college again.
Yeah.
Even though you had like Tyson and Eddie, who they're 4 years, they came out of high school. I'm still older than them. And then we had very good vets. Antonio Davis was a very good vet for us, and especially for Tyson and Eddie. And we again, it felt like college. Like we were practicing, 2.5, 3 hours a day. We were practice on game days and things like that. So, we didn't know any better. We just knew, hey, the ball was out there. Coach told us to do this, and we just tried to do it at the best of our ability.
I feel like that team was like an all-time floor burn team. They had like Nocioni, like you, Kurt Heinrich. That was like a very fun team to be a fan of, because you guys just worked your ass off. Was there an element of like you guys are holding each other accountable, or it's like I'm seeing Kirk or he's seeing you, and Nocioni's always on the floor? It felt like, was it like this is our culture, like we're just going to outwork everybody?
Well, I mean, I think, that's kind of how I played in college. So it wasn't a change for me. I feel like Kirk kind of played the same way. Noach took it to a different level. I felt like anytime he can get on the floor, he wanted to get on the floor. So, but it was also, the leadership of Coach Skiles as well. I mean, I can remember probably the first 20 games, we had a pick and roll defensive coverage, where we're icing it. We're trying to keep it on the baseline and, not let the guy go over the middle when the ball is on the wings or on the side. And if it gets over, you were getting subbed out. And it got to the point to where, it got to the point where, if you saw it get over, like you didn't have to wait for him to turn and point to you. You just started walking to the scores table, and if you were the guy on the court, you just started walking off the court. But it helped us become one of the best defensive teams just because we didn't want to come out. So we were doing anything and everything we could to not let that ball get over the top. So it made us have a lot more pride on the defensive end.
Yeah, and then that team, then you went out and got Ben Wallace. So it was like, this is like, we don't need to score. We'll win these games like 32-29, something like that.
I think that was the mindset.
Yeah.
Well, you always hear how intense Skiles was. Do you have a story that comes to mind that really encapsulates how intense he was?
I mean, he was intense, but I don't have like any crazy over the top where uh, you know, again, I had Coach K. Like Coach K has more crazy war stories than I have with Scott Skiles. But he at times would, throw himself into practice, especially, when the guards were not, doing what they're supposed to do. No, this is how you do it. Remember, I had 30 assists in the game. Like he's gonna always let you remember that he got the record for that in the game. But it was just, he was very, very into details to where if it wasn't perfect, we were gonna do it over and over and over again. And, like I said, there was a time where we were struggling and we literally practiced the night of the game, and we won. So then he made it a habit. So, so all of a sudden now our what's supposed to be walkthroughs became mini practices, and that was just kind of the mindset that team had.
Damn, you guys have to have a good mindset for that because I feel
Yeah.
like that. I mean, could that happen now? Not to come down on the new guys, but that's different practicing the night of a game.
Yeah, no, it was definitely tough. But again, I mean, we're all young, we're all trying to make our names in the league and things like that. Now it all changed when Ben got there, like Ben Wallace, because he was not doing that. So, I think that's where it kind of shifted a little bit because it was like, oh, we can say no. Like,
That's an option.
Yeah.
we didn't know this was optional.
You said you had some K war stories. What's your favorite one to share about Coach K?
Oh man, I mean, he got so many. I would think, one of the ones that I always joke about with him is that, with all these coaches, they always want to say that, they're doing everything that we're doing, as athletes. So like, we used to see him like, when we're walking through and he's on the rower and then he comes out and like his shirt is all drenched and, things like that. So, one of the times where, a lot of times where we get kicked out of practice, I believe that is already planned, because you can't
Okay.
do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, your shoe is not tied the right way, or, this and that. So, he's getting out there talking about toughness, and, he goes off on his rant. And he's like, everybody get out. And he goes and tries to grab this big trash can, and tries to throw it over. Now, remember, he had the hip surgery. So, that movement is not as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he tried to toss the trash can, and then all of a sudden, because of his hip, he kind of rolled it over, and like, so we're like, oh man, that trash can had to be filled with everything, and it was just an empty Gatorade bottle and an empty bag.
Hey guys, I got to tell you, we are at Camp Barstool and we're having an absolute blast. And honestly, it couldn't be possible without our good friends at Mountain Dew, because nothing says summer like Mountain Dew. It's true. You could look at this desk in front of me, these beautiful new cans they got there. I love the new logo. So clean, that fresh citrusy taste. I love Mountain Dew. And they've been a great partner here at camp, whether it be the relay race, whether it be the swimming events, like someone gets out of the pool and it's boom, instantly you crack a dew. And, it just partners so well with the outdoors. So shout out to Mountain Dew. Nothing goes better. And, hang with your friends in a refreshing citrusy kick of Mountain Dew. Camp's been great. We've had a good time. And we're excited to talk more about it next week. The mountain is calling. Experience the refreshing citrus kick of Mountain Dew. Grab one today. They got so many different flavors. You guys know they got the regular, the classic, the OG. They got the Code Red. They got Baja Blast. They got the zero sugar variety. Just go try some Mountain Dew, and we appreciate them sponsoring camp.
The last thing for me on those Bulls teams, going back to like '07, do you remember the feeling around the room when those Kobe Bryant rumors were really heating up, and was that something that you were excited about, or you guys want to like keep your team together because like Luol was supposed to go? Do you remember like what you were thinking at that time, and did that seem real to you?
Honestly, I don't even remember that.
Oh, really? Okay. It was a big story here.
We remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing it. I know during that time, the big thing with us, which was kind of, leading to the end of that little era was, the contract situations with Ben and Luol,
Mm-hmm.
and like Ben got upset that they paid Luol first, and it was kind of one of those distracting things for us. Which I mean, you understand. I mean, Ben was an instant bucket, and
Yeah.
yeah, but that's kind of the gift and curse of having a really good draft class because everyone has to get paid the same time. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing that I remember the most. I didn't really hear much about the Kobe rumors or anything like that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Because that
no.
was such a story here that
Yeah.
it was they couldn't reach an agreement because the Bulls didn't want to give up Luol, but like Kobe wanted Chicago. 'Cause
Oh,
he wanted to be Jordan, I guess. But all right, interesting.
That was the dumb brains
Yeah.
that we had as teenagers in
schoolers,
the
yeah.
in the Chicagoland area, thinking, "Oh, we're gonna get Kobe Bryant after
Yeah.
having MJ for 15 years."
Now, obviously, you're on the other side now. You're a great college athlete, high profile college athlete. What do you make of the whole NIL, all of that going on right now?
yeah. I mean, I think the NCAA just let it get too crazy, and it's tough to reel it back in. Do I think we should get paid? Yeah, I think so, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's the correct format for it. I don't think college should become a professional sport though either.
Okay.
I think you should, you know, enjoy that college experience and being a part of that community and things like that. So I don't know what the right way to do it, but I think because they kind of didn't have a plan with it, it just kind of got out of control, and
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be tough to reel back in. I mean, for me, I think the main thing you have to change is the transfer rule.
Yeah, because
Uh,
you're a rare 4-year
Yeah.
guy.
yeah. I think you give like each player one free one. And then, after that, unless, their coach leaves or something like that, you gotta let people figure it out.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how you can kind of control it a little bit. Because right now it's just free agency. After
Yeah.
the season, everyone's just putting their name in free agency, and whoever offers the best deal, that's where that player is going. So, uh, you know, it's tough because I mean, like I said, I think you miss out on the rivalries because
Mm-hmm.
every year, like we knew it was my freshman year, Shane and Joe Forte, and then
Yeah.
my junior and senior year was me and JJ against Raymond Felton and Rashard McCann. So if you're excited and looking forward to knowing faces that you knew and that's been there for a couple of years. So. Uh,
I definitely feel that because I feel like Duke Carolina, it doesn't carry the weight it did when you were there. And it's because it's like I remember Hansborough bleeding
Yes.
everywhere. Like so there was, a level of intensity. So do you feel as an alum that rivalry doesn't quite feel the same?
No, I mean, because you know what, they were in the Final Four a couple years ago, right before Coach K retired, and they've had a tough stretch. I think last year and probably maybe the year before, but I think people are adjusting to it, and as long as you have those colors and those letters on your chest, like that fan base is going to support whoever's out there. So. Again, it's a little bit tough now. Carolina's been a little different because what I think like Baycock and RJ Davis was there for like 7 years. So they at least
Yeah. Yeah, true.
they had a couple guys that they can lead on. So but at Duke, everyone's kind of embraced that we've kind of got guys that are, typically going to be one and done and or two and done. And, hopefully we still, like the guys that stayed around, you still have about three or four guys that, stay there and continue to figure it out. And I think
Mm-hmm.
Coach Shire's done a great job of, building that, still keeping that Duke family brotherhood, alive for guys that have opportunities to go over anywhere else and play or get promised things, but they choose to stick it out and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to Ben Gordon, when he was having those games where he was just an absolute microwave, just couldn't miss, were those the easiest assists you've ever gotten?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean,
That's true.
you knew when he was in the zone, but half the time you wasn't getting assists because he was a rhythm player, so he liked to get into his bag a little bit. So unless he was coming up them down screens like super open, if he wasn't shooting it, it was like, all right, here you go, getting in his bag. But it was fun to watch, man, especially with at his size and the ability because they were always putting 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" guys on him to hopefully try to use their length to affect his shot. But when he got it going, man, it was special to watch.
It was, man. And could you tell pregame, because he was unfortunately kind of notorious for that. He would have those games, he'd go off for 38, and then maybe the next night maybe be like 4. He was just notorious from like very high peaks and valleys. Could you tell when it was going to be good Ben versus not so good Ben?
It probably like the first 4 minutes.
So could we.
So there was no secret. There wasn't the way he walked in the locker room or anything like that. We were kind of the same way. It was like, all right, here goes these first 4 minutes.
Yeah, here we go.
Then we're gonna get. And Scott adjusted to it as well too. So like he kind of, all right, Ben's doesn't have it going. We're gonna go this way a little bit. So. But like you said, when he got it going, man, it was something special to watch.
We're gonna have to turn this into a Nocioni game,
Yeah.
Let's
All right, boys. Time to buckle up.
Listen, I'll tell you though, like obviously our whole lives are going to the United Center. When they would chant his name, do you remember that, Chris?
Yeah.
It was like he had so much heat. Like, I mean, obviously there are obviously better players we've had, but it was like a kind of a really cool time period when he was going off. What was Nocioni like?
Oh man, Noce was great, man. Noce was great. When we first got there, he was like kind of barely knew the language a little bit. But we'd probably say about halfway through the season, he actually had an interpreter there. But halfway through the season, like, all right, like we got it. But we used to know whenever he did something wrong, he didn't speak no more English. So
no habla. Yeah.
English. But no, I mean, just saw you saw the way that he played. I mean, he gave everything he had when he was out there. Undersized 4-man, one of those annoying guys that you love to have him on your team, but you hate to go against him just because he's just the way that he plays. And
He's a little rat.
he was awesome.
Yeah, he was great. Now, you going back to that the contract dispute there with Dang and Gordon, was it like awkward in the locker room too?
No, I mean it was nothing towards the team that like we felt like if there was tension in the locker room or anything like that. It was just all of a sudden Ben has a wrist injury that just came out the blue, right? That type of thing. So it was all of a sudden, Lou's ankle was a little bit too swollen, or to where the first couple of years, we were playing through all of that.
Yeah.
So, after being in that culture and then all of a sudden seeing, that type of stuff happen, then that's kind of when you really understood the business of it.
Hey guys, ChevyDriveChicago.com has everything you need to shop and buy smart at your local Chevy dealer. Great styles, the latest tech. You'll look good and feel good about what you're driving. Now is the time to get into the Chevy family of EVs. They got the Equinox EV. They got the Blazer EV. And, of course, the Silverado EV. Take advantage of all the incentives today. Don't wait. ChevyDriveChicago.com to find your local dealer and drive one today. Go check that out. Beautiful drive. Can't wait to hop in that Chevy. Head up to
Come on, boys.
10 hours of road trip.
Come on, boys.
Yeah, we'll load it up. We got more than enough storage for all our bags back there.
A ton of storage.
Yeah,
they're loading us up with extra cameras because they know I got so much extra storage.
Exactly.
In the Chevy.
I was gonna say I'll sneak my clubs in, but I don't feel like that's the right thing to do to you at this moment.
That was uncalled for.
I know.
That was uncalled for.
I apologize, but regardless,
maybe they'll disappear. Maybe I'll find mine when yours disappear.
Head to ChevyDriveChicago.com. to find your local dealer today. Reef took everything you love about sandals and built it into shoes. Take the Neptune and Del Mar style. It's designed to feel good all day and look good doing it. The Neptune is the MVP. It's breathable, it's lightweight, and it has a collapsible heel for that slip-on cruisy living. The Del Mar steps it up with more signature and style. Good enough for date night, easy enough for every day. White Sox, Dave, you wore the Del Mar to UFC this past week.
Yep,
right? Yeah,
I sure did. I have
noticed
a
that.
pair of sandals from Reef and 2 pairs of shoes from Reef lined up at home right now, ready to go for Camp Barstool this week.
Beautiful
Love
stuff.
that.
Beautiful stuff. Both built for technical features, swell sole construction, expanded TPU insoles, engineered mesh uppers, and more. They are loaded, simply put. Go take a look at reef.com/stretch and use promo code STRETCH15 to get 15% off your first order over $49 or get free shipping on any order over $65. That's reef.com/stretch and use promo code STRETCH15 for 15% off your first order over $49. So if that wasn't awkward, I'm gonna fast forward to your Magic career. It had to be awkward when Dwight Howard and Stan Van Gundy were going through that whole thing.
Oh man, yeah, it was.
You guys remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he was like off to the side.
Yeah,
yeah, he like
that
walked
famous
up.
press conference.
Yeah.
What was that day like?
So the funny thing, because I actually lived close to Dwight during that time. So the funny thing is that I rode with him to practice, so I had to wait for him to go after. So we're getting out the locker. We're about to did all our stuff afterwards. We're about to walk out to go, and it just so happened Stan just had the press conference where he said something about Dwight, and literally Dwight's walking through. It's like, "Hey Stan, like I love you," and I kissed him on the head, and they grabbed him and told him what Stan said, and it was like, oh, here we go. So, it was an interesting time, I should say, just because one that team had the talent and potential to compete for a championship, but then that happened, and then that kind of made things awkward in the locker room, and then obviously Dwight had got hurt towards the end of that. And then there was the question of if he's really hurt or not hurt. And, so you had to deal with all those type of things. And, it was just, it was weird because they actually had like a really good relationship, but he just kind of felt betrayed in that moment, and it kind of took a turn.
So where does the truth lie? Did he say that he wanted him fired or no?
So I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
He didn't tell me that. I think what the White's frustration was because Coach Gundy he's a hard-nosed coach as well, right? He's very particular. He is a great coach. One of the negatives you could probably say about him is that he's not encouraging enough. So, for guys that can handle it, him being a tough coach, we're fine. Like, we don't need you to pat us on the back. But for role players that are still trying to figure their way out, that, hey, you've been on them about not doing it right, and then they do it right, and then you don't say anything to them, it kind of messes up their psyche. So Dwight was in that kind of area where he's like, hey, come on, Stan, like you gotta, give these guys some encouragement. And Stan's like, F you, Dwight, like you worry about you, I'm gonna do me. So I think that's kind of where Dwight was kind of fighting for other guys because it wasn't really their relationship. He was fighting for other guys. And then Stan is Stan, like I'm a coach how I coach, as I've been doing it for 30 years. And so that's kind of where the disconnect was.
Yeah. I'm
Jeez.
looking up how that team, you guys were loaded.
Yeah.
That's like all these names: Dwight Howard, Vince Carter, Jason Richardson, Jameer Nelson, Rashard Ludis, Hito Turkoglu, Brandon Bass, Ryan Anderson, JJ Redick, Gilbert Arenas, Quentin Richardson. It's like all the names from that era somehow ended up on the same team.
Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 10 deep, 10, 12 deep.
Yeah, and he kind of played us like that early on too. It's kind of like not really, 5 in, 5 out. But,
Yeah.
all of us got in and, played until basically in the third, fourth. And it was kind of like, whichever was the kind of the hot 6 or 7 kind of finished out the game type of thing.
Yeah.
Dude, did you ever play for a laid back coach? You've had all the drill sergeants.
Mike D'Antoni.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
D'Antoni, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, those couple seasons with the Knicks, obviously the 22 assist game. Did everything just slow down for you that day, or what was that like?
Well, that was two very bad defensive teams, with us and Golden State. So both teams just basically wanted to score as many points as they can on the other. So that game was very, very high, fast paced. And, we just kind of got it going. Guys were making shots, and David Lee and I kind of had the pick and roll going really well, which then opened up, everybody else for open threes. And but yeah, the game did feel a little slow, once you kind of got in the groove, and I felt like I was seeing everything a lot faster and clearer.
Yeah, it's a Knicks franchise record. Did Skiles give you some due for that? Was he like, hey, good game, but it's not 30? Did he say anything?
Of course.
Yeah.
He was one of the first people that text.
Actually?
Close,
Yeah.
but not close
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
He was like, you had me scared for a second. Then I was like, no, I'll be fine.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. And then your final season was with the Lakers with Kobe. And that was kind of towards the end of their they obviously won a title a couple years earlier. So what was what was that last and final season like in LA?
Oh, I think that one should have been a reality TV show, and it would probably killed the rankings. We just had so many different characters with, we started off with Mike Brown, and then he got fired after 5 games, and you didn't bring in Mike D'Antoni, and then you have Meta World Peace, you have Powell, you have Antoine Jameson, the drama with Steve Nash, and it was just a team that wasn't, Dwight was there, so Dwight and Kobe battles throughout the season was entertaining, to say the least. So I don't think that team was properly constructed. And then it was just Kobe at one point, because he wanted Coach D'Antoni to be there. So then once he got there, it was kind of like, I'm gonna just do whatever I want.
Okay.
And he's gonna let me do whatever I want. And that's kind of how it was. Like he kind of did what he done, and everyone just kind of seemed, just to follow that lead. And then we dealt with the injuries. With Steve was hurt all year. Dwight was in and out hurt, and he was going back and forth with Kobe because of they were telling him that he's now the new face of the franchise, and Kobe's like, nah, not until I tell you that you're the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
So,
What-
yeah. And then Meta was just Meta. Like, I don't even have the words for Meta. He's just the greatest guy on earth. But he just sometimes just does the most random stuff. And
Well, he changed his name to Meta World Peace.
exactly.
Yeah. What was Kobe like as a teammate to you?
Yeah. You know what? I learned a lot, man. Like, I understand, all the perspective, sides that you get because you see it all. I tell people all the time, like, I think that, he has split personality. Like, Monday he'll come in and ask you about you, your family, and, everything else. And then the next day, he'll act like he just met you for the first time, in your life. So, that's just kind of how he was. I think, as you saw towards the end of his career, he kind of changed that a lot more to where he was very, very personal. But, one thing I can say is that no one outworked him.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the true. And like, if you're someone that wants to see and what greatness looks like he's an example of that. Like the dedication that he puts into his body, the attention to the details that he puts, when he approaches games, like, he has it to where after every first half, like he gets video of his shots and he's already, okay, I see where the double teams come in. I see where I can attack this. And like, so he's he's playing chess,
Yeah.
throughout the whole time. And to be able to witness it and experience it, I think it's helped me in a lot of other areas in my life, knowing that the dedication and focus that you have to put. But, again, like, you saw all different sides of him. You saw the side that I think everyone got to see, before he passed, that was very caring and, and genuine and articulate and, things like that. And then you also, saw the asshole that,
Yeah.
challenged everyone and, kind of wanted to be by himself. And, you had to prove to him that you were worthy to be in the same room with him. And I just think, the whole package is what, makes him him and what makes him special.
What was his standard for teammates, though? Because obviously he knew no one was going to work as hard as him. But was it you just kind of got to be there? You kind of got to be close to his level? Like, what was his – like, because I got to imagine there were a lot of guys where he was not cool with at all off the court because they just kind of clocked in, clocked out. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, it was those type of things. And, he wanted to see, how you worked, right? So, like, it's one thing to be in the gym, but if you're not taking everything, going full speed, really paying attention to details of it, then, he's not respecting that either. He's not respecting, yeah, I came in at 6 a.m., but I sat in my locker and text on the phone till 6:45 before I actually, like, he sees all of that, that, he sees how you take care of your body. He knows, like, if you were out, in the clubs the night before, that type of stuff. So, those are the things that he kind of, looked for to see who was really consistent in, being the best that they possibly could be. And then, with him, it was you kind of had, few opportunities to prove that too, right? So, in the game, if he came in the game and gave you a couple opportunities to make shots and you missed it, might not be getting any more passes from him the rest of that game. So, that's just kind of how, he did that. That was kind of his way of doing things.
Viore is incredibly versatile and comfortable, perfect for whatever your day brings. It's designed to look great beyond the gym. Whether you're running errands, heading to the office, or meeting up with friends, the core short is a short that started it all for Viore. It's soft, it's lightweight, four-way performing stretch. It moves with you. There's no restriction. The breathable boxer brief liner allows built-in comfort and support. I know you have your luggage ready to roll, Chief, and I know you're loaded with Viore, as am I, as is Dave.
I'm bringing a Viore bathing suit, Viore shorts.
Ooh.
I got the joggers that are be great for those little chilly nights up at camp by the campfire. It's gonna
pop. It's going to pop.
Yeah, people are like, oh, damn, look at Chief.
Viore is an investment in your happiness. For our listeners, they are offering 20% off your first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at Viore.com/stretch. That's VUORI.com/stretch. Exclusions apply. Visit the website for full terms and conditions. Not only will you receive 20% off your first purchase, but enjoy free shipping on any U.S. orders over $75 and free returns. Go to Viore.com/stretch and discover the versatility of Viore clothing. Exclusions apply. Visit the website for full terms and conditions.
Now that you've been involved in coaching since retirement, is there a guy that you tell the most stories about or lessons you learned that you're trying to pass on? You feel like you reference this guy, if it's Skiles or Coach K or Dan, like you've had like all these big names as coaches and mentors. Kobe, is there a guy that you feel like those stories work the most for kids today?
I try not to use as many Kobe stories because then, these kids think they're Kobe and they're going to try to do
Right.
Yeah.
Kobe can do, and, they can't. I do reference, these Bulls teams a lot,
Okay.
just because of, like I said, like, those first 20, 25, games where, there was a standard that was set, like, hey, we're not letting anybody get over on ball screens, right? Our goal is to hold teams to 22 and below every single quarter. Like, there was a standard and there was a goal every game that we set for ourselves for us to meet that standard. And we took pride in that. We took pride in that every game where, we're checking up, hey man, they got 14, like they only could get 6 more points the rest of this quarter, and I think those are the type of things that, young players need to understand that, you don't always can have to impact the game. Like all these kids think scoring is the only way that they can impact. So they're frustrated when they miss shots. They're frustrated when they don't score. to where, hey, let's have team goals and see how you can impact the game in different ways. And your goal is to try to convince me to keep you out on the court. And if you're just trying to do it by scoring, then that's the easiest way, for you to get subbed out, basically, because that's the easy thing to judge. But so I kind of use, all the things that I've learned from everyone. And like I said, I've been blessed to have such great coaches and people uh, you know, to be mentors to me. So, I'm just taking bits and pieces here and there and just kind of fitting them where they need to be fitted.
Yeah, it's awesome. You've had like a Forrest Gump basketball life.
Kinda,
You've been
yeah.
around so many different
Yeah.
coaches and players. Who is from an intense standpoint, who's your Mount Rushmore, your top 4 intense basketball people, coach, player, whatever, teammate? Who's your top 4? Like, those guys were fucking intense basketball people.
I mean, Coach K for sure. Uh, Kobe.
Nose.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I was going to put him in the top 4 or not.
All right.
But he's close. He's close there.
Okay.
Nocioni for sure. And then I'll probably have to go another coach with either, Stan or Scott, whichever one. You could pick your poison.
Okay.
I mean, the guys I played with, like, they were intense, but besides Kobe, they weren't over the top. Like,
Okay.
they were just competitors. Like, we just competed. Kobe was kind of over the top. But the coaches, like, they were over the top.
The coaches are the crazy ones. Not well, how about I know we referenced them earlier, and that's where things kind of changed. But I'd imagine once the whistle came out, like, Ben Wallace had to be an intense dude.
Yeah, no, like, but for Ben, it kind of had to be because you got to think about that time he was getting older in his career, so
Yeah.
like he was dealing with knee issues and things like that. So he was the one that before the game we kind of knew what Ben we was gonna get, depending on if he can move or not. But he was more kind of the big brother or thing like that to where, he made sure he was the enforcer. So like, if a guy starts kind of going off a little bit, he'll be like, hey dude, let him through. I'm like, huh? He's like, yeah, just let him go. And then boom, hit him with a forearm or something like
Yep.
that. He's like, all right, he's not coming back in here. So but he wasn't over the top. It was kind of a quiet, but you felt his presence because, he was Ben Wallace. So,
Yeah.
but it wasn't over the top.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What do you miss most about Chicago?
Man, shoot, man, everything, man. I mean, I live downtown. I was fresh out of college, so I definitely enjoyed the city a lot. And I just love how it's just a sports town, man. So it was fun for me to be able to go to hockey games and then go to baseball games and go to football games, and it just seems like the fan base for all of them were just at a crazy, insane high for everything. So all the games were fun and intense, and that's kind of a lot of the things I enjoyed the most, is just how great of a sports town it was.
Yeah. You're probably one of the rare athletes that has been a pro in New York, Chicago, and LA.
It's true.
Why not rank those 3 as places to be a pro athlete, like lifestyle, everything?
I would go for me, it's tough because I was in different times of my life there.
Yeah.
Chicago, I was young and single, so I was wilding out. Uh, and then, New York, after the first year, that's when, me and my wife got together. So then I was married in LA. I think with Chicago, I would go Chicago, LA, then New York. And between LA and New York is just weather.
Okay. Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
But they both were tough because New York, the practice facility is out in like White Plains, which is like 40 minutes away from the city.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to the city, like you better be going to the city for the whole time.
Yeah,
like it's
right.
not.
Yeah. And in LA, you had a great reality show. So
Yeah, and in LA, it was kind of same thing, dealing with that traffic or stuff like that. So it's like, do I really want to deal with this today or not? So where, like I said, in Chicago, I mean, I'm out on the corner, got you a cab
Yeah.
and you where you need to
Gone.
be in 10, 15 minutes.
Before we let you go, is there any like snippet you can let us know from those LA days of why it was such a reality show? Like, was there a day when you walked in, you're like, I can't fucking believe this?
Oh, man. There's a couple. I mean, so one, which was funny, we were playing at Portland and uh Damon Lillard is going crazy in the first half, like crazy. So, towards the second quarter, in the second quarter, Kobe switches on to him to guard him, and then Kobe starts going off. So that basically kept us in the game because Kobe kind of carried us there. So one from playing with Coach D'Antoni before and all this type of stuff. I get in the locker room. I'm sitting next to Antoine Jameson, and we come in there, and I lean over and I said, hey, I bet you $500 that Mike comes in here and doesn't say anything about the defense. And he was like, there's no way. I said, I bet you $500 that happen. It's like, all right. So Mike comes in. All right, offensively, we got to do this, and this. And I'm just sitting there smirking. And then Kobe's like, oh, no, F that, Mike. Like, what we going to do about this Damian Lillard kid? He's a fucking problem. He's like, Kobe, if you do your job, then he wouldn't be doing all this. He's like, Mike, like there's just something different. Like it's just one of them games where, he got it going. Like we got to trap him, do anything. He was like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, all right, Mike. He said, remember you tried that shit when you were in Phoenix and I gave you motherfucker 61. I said, Mike's like, all right, well, we're going to double him off the pick and roll. So it was just goes to tell you that Kobe kind of was in control of that team.
Yeah.
Did he have like regret and be like, oh shit, this is the guy I asked for, or no?
No. I mean, it was just that, and then the Dwight and Kobe drama was just crazy. So, it was an interesting time.
What did they butt heads about?
Well, again, I mean, Dwight came in there, and I'm pretty sure the organization was telling him that he's the face of the team, so that's kind of how he was carrying himself. And Kobe was like, "No, you got to earn it. Like,
Yeah.
the reason, like, I don't respect you as a leader or the face of the team because you don't work hard enough, like, or you play too much and you don't take it serious. You don't have a championship mentality." And so Kobe was thinking of it as him teaching Dwight that. And Dwight was on the page of, I'm already that. I don't need you to teach me that. And coming into Kobe City, you're not going to win that one.
Yeah, dude, you
there
almost had 10 years in the league, and you probably were like, oh shit, I got to learn the Kobe way once you went to LA, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to learn the Kobe, but I mean, I wasn't going to be the face of so.
Yeah. Man, all right, we'll wrap up then, dude. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys later. This is Stretch Interview Pod. We'll see you Monday.